Now to the other big headline today. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi's visit to New Delhi. I'm sure you heard about it. The first high-level exchange since Galwan. China asked for it, but tried to keep it under wraps. The minister came to India via Pakistan and Afghanistan. He made some unsavory comments on Kashmir along the way and got a frosty reception when he landed in New Delhi. No red carpet for China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi. He landed at a commercial airport last night in New Delhi, and it all went downhill from there. First things first, why has he come at all? Why is he here? What's his mission? A very specific task: revive the bilateral dialogue, convince India to resume high-level engagements. China is hosting the BRICS summit this year. They want Prime Minister Modi to attend in person, which is why Wang Yi has been dispatched to prepare ground. And he's going to return disappointed. India has refused to normalize ties with China. No rapprochement until Chinese troops move back. So whom did Wang Yi meet? Two top leaders of the Modi government, National Security Advisor Ajit Doval and External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar, both brought up the border standoff. Ajit Doval did not mince his words. He said an early and complete disengagement of troops, quote-unquote, is key to restoring ties. I have the complete statement with me. Let me read out what Ajit Doval, India's National Security Advisor, told Wang Yi. And this is what he said: the two countries need to continue positive interactions at diplomatic and military levels for restoration of peace and tranquility, which is a prerequisite for normalization. Restoration of peace is a prerequisite for normalization. These words sum up India's position. Solve the border issue first, then we can talk about normalization. What did China say? Well, they had an invitation. Doval should visit China, discuss the border issues. The NSA welcomed the idea. But he told Beijing to first resolve the immediate issues, which brings us back to the border. Fix that and we'll talk. That's essentially India's message. Hours after that exchange, China released a statement, and that too in Mandarin. Do you know what the statement said? Typical Chinese spiel. There were no commitments to solve the border standoff. Beijing wants New Delhi to take a quote-unquote long-term approach to ties. Basically, forget about the border and focus on other aspects of the relationship. India has already rejected that. Wang Yi's next stop was the Hyderabad house in New Delhi. That's where he met the External Affairs Minister of India. Again, he faced questions about the Chinese build-up. India says the de-escalation and disengagement has been slow. The standoff, you would know, began in April 2020. In the last 22 months, both militaries have held 15 rounds of talks. But China refuses to commit to a disengagement plan. Jaishankar brought this up today.
The situation there is not normal. Is our relationship normal today? My answer to you is no, it is not. And it cannot be normal if the situation in the border areas is abnormal. I would describe our current situation as work in progress, obviously at a slower pace than desirable.
Facebook lingo, that's relationship status complicated. So for India, the border remains the core issue. That's the message Wang Yi will take back to Beijing. China has been making efforts to resume dialogue, and this is not their first outreach, I can tell you. Earlier this month, Wang Yi said something interesting. He said he was worried about the worsening India-China relationship. That's the word he used, worsening. And that it did not serve the fundamental interests of the two countries. Imagine China worrying about Indian interests. What do you think they're really angling for? Support on Ukraine, that's what they want. Russia's invasion has complicated China's life. It wants an ally, and it hopes India can be that ally. The statement from Beijing earlier today throws up some clues. Allow me to quote from what they said. This year and next, global governance will usher in an Asian moment. China and India will host the BRICS, G20, and Shanghai Cooperation Organization leaders as summits, respectively. China and India speak with the same voice, and the whole world will listen. The world will pay attention to the cooperation between China and India. The BRICS, the G20, the SCO, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. What's common about all these forums? Russia. It's a key member in all three. And there are calls to expel it from the G20 already. Similar challenges could emerge at the BRICS and the SCO. China wants to keep both groupings intact, and that cannot happen without support from India. That's what Beijing wants. So it's sweet talking, and its mouthpieces are following suit. The Global Times, for instance, it has been applauding India's position on the Ukraine invasion. It says China and India share similar stances on the Ukraine crisis. How should New Delhi see this outreach? As an opportunity, you could say. Remain firm and open. Set the terms of engagement, which is what India is already doing. Reports say the Chinese foreign minister tried hard to secure a meeting with Prime Minister Modi. He was refused. No appointment was given for a meeting with the PM. And this sends a message. There can be no meaningful dialogue with China until it goes back from the border. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.